Hey guys, welcome back to Jessin Reads Romance. I'm Jessin. Today I'm going to be talking about the books I want to read in September. As always, we're going to kick it off with the books that we're going to be reading for the podcast. Now, I am reading them like a month before because we like to record our episodes early, just because schedule conflicts, we like to avoid them. So these are the first look at our episodes for October. They haven't officially been announced yet. So the first one will be Using Feiho by Victoria Avalon. This is in the Clickanian, I think it's Clickanian. I might be saying it wrong. Series. It's a sci-fi alien romance, and we've already done Choosing Theo, which I really love. They have a very interesting alien society where the men far outnumber the women, and they're trained at a young age to become husbands. So they have to like basically prove that they're like husband worthy. So that's like the alien society, and women are few and far between. They're kind of a hot commodity. And of course we have some human women who were kidnapped and they end up on this planet. So they become like very like everyone wants that the humans to choose them for husbands. So that's the series. Using Feiho is like book 5, I want to say, and definitely a different premise for this one, and I really like it, and I can't wait to reread it. The audiobooks are fantastic. I listened to them all on audiobook, and I highly recommend that. The next book on October's list is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. This is a standalone novel within her Crowns of Nyaxia series. So this couple does appear in the main series, but you don't have to read this book to understand like The Serpents and the Wings of Night and The Ashes and the Star-Crossed King. You can read those fine without reading her standalones. She has a novella, 6 Scorched Roses, and Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. But funnily enough, these standalones, the novella and Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, are my favorites of the series. The ones that are just kind of like one-off romances that kind of happen on the sidelines. I absolutely adore them. So I can't wait to talk about this one on the podcast. Can't wait for Juliet to read it as well. We're huge Carissa Broadbent fans. She's just so amazing. The next book is The Longing of Lone Wolves. Love this copy that I'm about to show you. So The Longing of Lone Wolves is the next book that we're reading for the podcast. And when Juliet was at a Polycon, I believe, she actually met the author. I'm not going to attempt to say her name because I'm totally going to butcher her last name. But she gave Juliet this special edition, and Juliet had no idea that I was putting this on the podcast. And she's like, hey, do you want this? I'm like, yes, I do. So it has like beautiful foiled edges and a really cool, it's signed as well, but there's like a colored map and I love it. Like, look how cool this is. Anyway, I adore it. So happy that Juliet was able to get that for me. I'm very grateful, and I can't wait to reread that one. And finally, the last book for the podcast is Desire in His Blood by Zoe Draven. Also love Zoe Draven's sci-fi fantasy monster romances. Huge fan of her Horde King series. I actually recently reread a couple of them. The Horde King series and Desire in His Blood is the first book in a new series that she's currently writing. And it's like a vampire, berserker, demon sort of monster heroes and a human heroine. So yeah, very excited to reread that one. For Patreon, the 2 books that I'll be reading for the exclusive vlog, very excited about this one. It's a reread for me. It's Tied by Carrie Cole, one of my favorite books. I adore Torn and Tied are my favorite Carrie Cole books of all time. They're 5-star reads for me. It's been a while since I've read Tied. This is a special edition. I think it was by Hello Lovely. I swear it's Hello Lovely. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but this will be a reread, so exclusive vlog. I've never really vlogged about this book before, and I'm very excited to be reading that one. The next one is a book that I've never heard of before. It's called Not So Lucky by Trilina Pucci. Not sure if I'm saying her name right. So I read the synopsis after the spinner wheel randomly picked the books that I'll be reading for Patreons. They're based off of recommendations that patrons submit to me every single month, and I just keep like the spinner wheel going with however many recommendations I get. And this one was a newer recommendation. I read the synopsis and it sounds like a weird like hookup night in Vegas sort of thing. And it seems like there is a main hero and a main heroine, but also maybe sort of a why choose romance, or she just has like a one night thing where she sleeps with him and his friends. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this book, but it sounds wild and I'm not quite sure what it is. So we'll find out. We'll find out whenever I read that one. So I'm intrigued, but also wary because I'm very particular about why I choose romances. I don't often pick them up. It has to be like a really good story for me to like want to read them. So we'll see if it is a why I choose romance. I could be completely wrong, and I misread the synopsis where it sounded like she slept with his friends as well. And now for the new releases that I'm excited for in September. They're actually only a little handful that I'm very excited to read in September, which is fine. I don't mind having a shorter TBR for this month. It is my birthday month and I want to mood read like whatever I want to read. So I don't mind having a short TBR list, especially compared to August. I had a very extensive one and I actually stuck to it, which I was very surprised by. But anyway, the new releases that I'm excited for are Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. It's coming out on September 5th, so in a couple of days. This is the third book in the Knock 'Em Out series, and this couple, Lucian and Sloane, have been simmering in the background. You know that they have a history, but you don't know exactly what has gone on because they definitely don't get along. Sloane feels like she's more mad at Lucian than Lucian is mad at Sloane. So I'm not quite sure exactly what went on in their background. It's going to be a big part of the story, I'm assuming. I am cautiously optimistic. I like the first one the best out of the series so far. The second one, I love the premise, but I feel like the momentum was very weird. They are long books, and I thought that the pacing in the beginning was good, and then it kind of took a different turn toward the midway point, and I didn't like it as much, like the second half of the second book of the series. So anyway, I hope that this book is good. The next one I'm excited about is The Brood by Daphne Perry. This one's releasing on September 7th. This is part of her Calamity Montana series. Previously, she published this under another pen name, Willa Nash, and I think she's doing away with Willa Nash because if I'm not mistaken, The Brood, since it's a new release, it's only going to be released under Daphne Perry, and then her other books have been, the cover has been adjusted to say Daphne Perry writing as Willa Nash, and it seems like she's doing away with her Instagram. I never understood why she had two different pen names because the Calamity Montana series are so similar to like her Runaway Road and like the Eden series. I just didn't understand why it was on a different name, under a different name. But who knows, she's correcting it. I really like this series. We recently did a podcast on it, The Brazen, which is book 3 in the series, I believe, or 4, no, 3. And then I also reread the book that comes before this one because I was like, oh, I'm forgetting what characters are supposed to come next in The Brood. So I'm really glad that I reread. It was The Brawl. The Brawl is the previous book, and I'm glad I reread it because it reminded me of who the characters are going to be. This is going to be like an age gap. Most of them are age gap romances, and possibly forced proximity as well, if I'm remembering correctly. And then the final book. This is a little out there, a little strange, a little weird to say that I'm excited to read this, but I am. And it's mostly to do with the cover. I'm sorry, this whole entire series has some of the coolest monster covers that I've seen. So I'm going to mispronounce it. I don't know how you say this word. Wed to the Like by Layla Frost. No idea. Coming out September 13th. I read the first 3 books in the series, and they're by different authors. The first one is Wed to the Frost Giant or the Ice Giant or something by Layla Faye. So the same author who wrote this one. And then I read the Minotaur one, not the Minotaur, the Wolfman one, and the other one. Oh man. There was 3 of them that I read. They're very short novella length monster romances, very fated mates, insta-lovey, but I don't know, I love this cover and I'm going to read it. So that was just a random one that I decided to put on my list. Okay, so only a few more that I'm going to officially put on my TBR. The rest, I do have books in mind that I want to read, but I don't want to commit to anything, but these books I definitely want to read. So the first one is Heir to Seven Waters by Juliette Marier. This is the 4th book in her Seven Waters series, but it's a next gen. It's the first next gen book of the series. So the first 3, well, no, I mean, the first 3 books are generational. Like we have the original book, which is about Sorsha, and then the second book is about one of her daughters, and the third book is about the next generation as well. This one continues with that same generation from the third book, and the rest of the series is that same generation. So these are all sisters. The next 3 books in the series are about sisters. This is one of my favorites of the series. Very excited about it. Crystal has been reading the series with me and other Juliette Marie books. She's also read Wolfskin, which she really loved. And I'm curious to see what she'll think about this one. So we're gonna buddy read it sometime during this month. I'm very excited about it. I also discovered that I cannot find my hardcover edition for this book. And that was the original one that I purchased. And I'm like, where is it? I have no idea where this book is. It is going to kill me now that I was looking for it. And I'm like, it's the only book I'm missing from the series because I was buying these books as they were being published and they were originally published in hardcover. So I'm like, where is Heir to Seven Waters hardcover? I don't know where it is. And I'm like, who would have borrowed it? Only Juliette, my aunt, would have borrowed it, and I don't think she did. So I'm like, where is this? I'm sad about it because that was my original copy. But anyway, so I want to read that one. And then also to keep up with my checklist of Lisa Kleypas books that I haven't read before, I'm going to try to read both of these. So When Strangers Marry and also Only With Your Love. This is part of a series. I think they're like the Vellerans or whatever. I really want the original cover for this one. It's hard to come by. I recently saw one go up for grabs. I was way too late for it. I like saw it 24 hours later after it sold. And I was so sad because I never see this book on sale. The original cover, I never see it on sale. But anyway, so I think I'm gonna read both of these this month because I definitely want to complete that challenge of reading all of her backlist. And the other books that I think maybe the second book has audio, but maybe not the first one, or vice versa. The first one has audio and the second one doesn't. I don't know. But after I finish these, I think the only books that I have left are out of print and I can only read them physically, which will be a little bit harder. So they're like her originally published books. And those are also really hard to come by and I don't want to damage them. So it'll be interesting reading those. So these Lisa Kleypas books, and then also a reread of Wolfsong. So I've been saying this for a while now that I wanted to do a reread of Wolfsong. I was kind of waiting for like the colder months. It's not gonna get cold in Louisiana until like maybe November though. We're still in the upper 90s, which is unfortunate. I'm so sick of it. I'm ready for fall weather, like already decorated for Halloween. It's like, I need some fall in my life. But anyway, it was recently announced that a couple of booktubers were going to do a read-along for the Green Creek series. And I was like, well, now's the time to reread them. I don't believe the live shows start until the very end of September and they go into October. So that'll be perfect. I can start reading Wolfsong toward the end of September, which I'm very excited about. It is my favorite. This one and Heartsong are like tied for my favorites of the series. But Wolfsong, I mean, it is just so different from any other paranormal romance that I've read before, and it's just like such a slow burn, so interesting, and I just love this couple in particular. So the hosts of the read-along are Ava, Christy, Samantha, and Jess, and the dates for the live shows are September 24th is Wolfsong, then October 8th is Ravensong, October 15th is Heartsong, and October 22nd is Brothersong, and they're on everyone's different channel. I'll link this post down in the description box below if you want to save that. So I'm very excited to be reading that for September. I'm going to end my TBR right here. Again, like I said, there's some other books, especially in the 12 Fringe Challenge, that I know I want to read some more from that list, but I'm not sure which ones yet. I'm going to see what mood strikes me during September and see which one is really like calling to me. And I'll go from there. Let me know of the books that you're excited for in the month of September. If I missed any new releases that you're like, I can't believe you didn't mention that one. Tell me in the comments down below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to get notified on any future videos that I do. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, life's better with a little HEA. Bye guys.